With all the advances in fishing tackle in the last 20 or 30 years, especially in hard baits and crankbaits, the Shad Rap is still a super effective bait. The reason for that is because of what made it great in the first place. It's a balsa wood bait, but it has a natural swimming type motion. You know, I mean, that bait in the water, the way that it moves through the water, that's not been changed in the last 20 or 30 years. And it still resembles a shad better than anything else out there. And that tight wobble in cold water just makes fish bite that won't really bite a lot of other bait. Whenever I'm trying to select colors for a Shad Rap, I like to keep it pretty simple. The original shad and the original crawdad are my number 1 and number 2 colors. Whenever I go to a new lake, those are the ones that I'm going to stick with first. And I'm going to see which ones the fish react to better. Then I'll kind of start fine tuning it from there. So you can always fine tune your colors on any body of water, but original shad and original crawdad, there's no way you'll go wrong with those two. Whenever I'm trying to determine which size Shad Rap I'm going to use, there's a few factors that I look at. And everybody wants to think the very first thing that comes to mind is whenever you're trying to catch bigger fish, you want to go with a bigger bait. For a Shad Rap, for me, that's not necessarily true. The biggest bass I've ever caught on a Shad Rap was on the little number 5. And that bait for me, I mean, it catches fish when nothing else will. But a lot of situations, I do like to go up to a number 6 or number 7 Shad Rap. But for me, that little number 5, like I said, I've caught the biggest bass I've ever caught on a Shad Rap was on this bait, 7 and 8 pound fish. And I can make fish bite this whenever I can't make them bite a little bit larger bait. And I pretty much always use fluorocarbon line, either 6 or 8 pound test fluorocarbon. You want something with a small diameter, and that's really going to help you get that bait way out there and to help get it down to reach those fish that you're trying to target. The sinking quality of fluorocarbon with its low stretch is what I really like about that line. Whenever I'm fishing a Shad Rap, most of the time it's going to be on water that's pretty cool, say less than 55 degrees. So my presentation is going to match that. My presentation is going to be pretty slow for the most part. My retrieve speed and the way that I fish that bait is going to be, you know, somewhat exaggerated. It's going to be a little bit slower. But one major thing whenever you're fishing the Shad Rap in cool water is the way you stop that bait. I catch a lot of fish pausing that bait during my retrieve. Whenever I feel it coming up on a bigger rock, maybe a piece of brush, a stump, or anything like that, I want to pause that bait, kind of let it hang there for a second, then begin my retrieve again. You just want to match your speed of your retrieve to the water temperature, but anytime you feel that bait hit something a little bit different, you have to pause it. That's when you're going to get a lot of bites. My tip for fishing a Shad Rap for dummies is the only way you're a dummy is if you're not fishing it. It's such an easy bait to use and an easy bait to catch fish on. You're crazy if you're not out there fishing with it.